So I was going to talk about this today, but last night the topic of whining came up. And I thought, that sounds like a good topic for BBC. Uh, yeah. And so I started thinking, well, what's the difference between complaining and whining? Okay. Because I usually associate whining with what little kids do. Do you? Yeah. So, but here the adults were saying that they were whining. So you're whining but not complaining. So I was thinking, okay, when I complain, it's a much more forceful statement, like this is wrong and it needs to be changed. Whereas when I whine, when I go back to being a little kid, well, at least physically, mentally, we don't know. At least then there was always the feeling that somebody else had control of the situation. And so I couldn't get what I wanted. And somehow, if I whined enough, they would get sick of me whining and give me what I wanted. Yeah? What was whining for you when you were a kid? And, huh? What? Not allowed? What do you mean? Oh, you weren't allowed to lie. Well, I wasn't either, but that didn't stop me. Yeah, yeah. As someone said last night, one of our mother's favorite phrases was, why are you whining? Let me give you something to whine about. Yeah, and yeah.
There's another word for whining. It's called belly aching. That was another thing. Quit your belly aching. And I think you're pretty close to it, Venom. I think it was a power struggle between a child and the authority figure, and the child felt that was, what's not coming to you. If you make enough noise, it'll work on the power figure. They'll either have some sympathy or just get tired of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it rarely worked because my mom was pretty strong, and belly aching and whining did not seem to do anything but just, ground me into the back of my bedroom for a while. But it was something about not getting what I wanted or something I liked or different circumstances as a child could.
Yeah. It was like that for me too. I couldn't get what I wanted. I belly ached. I whined. Yeah. What's the difference between whining and nagging? That's another virtuous thing we do, isn't it? So virtuous, nag, because it's actually good for the other person if we convince them of such and such. You had something?
For me, whining has a connotation of poor me.
Mm-hmm.
Poor me, you must feel sorry for me.
Yeah, poor me. Poor me. But for me, whining also has the connotation of manipulation. Yeah, if I whine enough, I can get them to change. If I complain enough, I can't always get them to change. Yeah. If I nag usually doesn't work either. Okay. How about other people? When you said that you were whining, what did you mean? Now nobody else said that? I thought it was presented as a group activity. Yes.
Comes to mind is that pigs whine. That's the noise that they make. So I don't know if we can draw any conclusions from that association. And then whining is like you're in a bad mood and it's not really what you're talking about. It's just you want to the mind is just unhappy and the content is really not important.
Yeah, so there it could be more belly aching, but not really expecting anything to change.
just grumpy and you find anything to complain about. Is that aspect?
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting to explore, because we have many words in English that are similar, but they are also different. And even though we're looking at how we're defining these different words, by trying to see how we define them, we're gaining some insight into the behaviors and the mindsets. Yeah. Because I don't think about whining very often. Complaining I'm very good at, but I never think of myself as a whiner. But, oh, I see some people laughing. Oh dear. But when I think of the word whining, then it may show me some behaviors that I'm unaware of. Yeah, because I don't think I whine, so I don't think I have certain behaviors. Whereas I know I complain, so I know I have the behaviors that go with complaining, which for me, it's different behaviors than with whining. Yeah. So interesting to look at those kinds of things, and then how the people around us dealt with us when we whined as children, and how they deal with us now as adults when we whine. When a kid whines, well, that's what kids do. Okay, it's unpleasant, but that's what kids do. When adults whine, you feel like slapping them. Like, don't you realize, how many good things you have in your life? Why are you belly aching like this? Yeah. Whereas a kid doesn't see the good things they have in life. They just, they whine. But adults, it's like, why are you whining when you look outside and okay, there's a pandemic, but right now you look out the window and it's a beautiful summer day. Yeah. And it's a flex day, so you can relax. And you're with a bunch of nice people. You're not in a prison. Read some of the letters from the inmates, and then you really get an idea of the fortune of your life. Okay? But it's so interesting how the mind, nevertheless, likes to whine and complain. And something is always wrong. And it shouldn't be wrong. Yeah. Somebody should fix it. But actually, somebody should have made certain it didn't happen in the first place. Yeah. So all these things that I don't like, they definitely shouldn't happen. And even if somebody botched up and they happen, I should be able to complain so that they change it. And if they don't, then I file a court suit. Yeah. And that's why this country, people love to sue other people. They love to go to court. We had one contractor for one of the buildings we built. He even told us how many people he took to court. Somehow he enjoyed that. Yeah. So it's interesting to look at. And we may make a hobby of complaining or of whining, but how do we feel about ourselves when we're doing it? Yeah. We may be justified, but, yeah, there shouldn't be nuclear weapons. Yeah, should and shouldn't. Well, should and shouldn't don't have much to do with reality. Yeah. So complaining about those things doesn't really change much. So why do we complain? Yeah. Whereas stating something that is problematic is different from complaining. Stating it's problematic can give us some impetus to start to change it, and we get involved. But complaining, the words can sound similar, but the mental attitude is this shouldn't have happened. Now that it exists, it's somebody else's fault, and that person should complain, should change it. And whining is just, I don't like it. Yeah. But in both whining and complaining, we're in a lousy mood. Whereas if we see, okay, there's a problem with something, and, I can do something, even if it's just something small, then we're not in a bad mood because we have something that we can do. Yeah. But sometimes it seems like we luxuriate in bad moods. It's a flex day. You can do whatever you want. So I'll sit and be in a bad mood all day, and whine and complain. And, we're just miserable. So anyway, think a little bit about it, about the mental states that go with these different words, with the behavioral states. Think of nagging, put nagging in there too. Yeah, because it's a form. Yeah. Actually, just to tell you something that will help you be creative in distinguishing different things. Somebody once asked one of the lamas in Dharamsala, because there's a practice they do, it's called a boom soak, where you offer 100,000 soak offerings, and it was being done to Guru Rinpoche Padmasambhava. So the whole upper temple was filled, all the monks and nuns, and you repeat this offering verse again and again 100,000 times, okay? So somebody asked one of the lamas, why are we saying it 100,000 times? Can't we just make the offering once or make the request? Because it's not just an offering, it comes with a request. Okay, can't we just do it once or maybe 3 times? Why 100,000? And the Lama said, it's like when you're a little kid and you want your mama to give you something. You pull at her clothes and, Mom, I want this, I want that, I want this. This is so good. I want it. This is so good. I want it, and compare that to making an offering and request for 100,000 times, the idea being not that Guru Rinpoche is going to get fed up and say, okay, you can have it. But, I don't think we can do, Guru Rinpoche will fall for that. But more in the way that a little child, the more they ask, the more intense it becomes. Yeah, do you remember that? So the idea is too, when you offer a boom soak, your offering, your request should become more and more intense the more you say it. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting analogy that he gave there. Anyway, think about it, and we can complain about the BBC together and maybe get something out of it.